All right, welcome into Hockey Stats, everybody. What's going on? Welcome into the show. I'm Andy Strickland. Brought to you by First Community. First Community, the best place to do your banking, no matter where you are. Listen, this is like a new way of banking nowadays. You want to make your life easier, you go with First Community. You want to be constantly in a struggle and confused, get taken advantage of. Well, yeah, I mean, the choice is on you, what you want to do. First Community, though, they've invested so much in the game of hockey, which is why we love having them on here on Hockey Sense. They've got that Little Blues program. If you have a son or daughter looking to get into hockey, there's no better option out there than Little Blues. You get all your equipment, including skates. I know a lot of parents out there, they're like, I don't know what to do. They go into the hockey shop. They're like, what? Which direction do I go in? Like, there's equipment everywhere. And yeah, you need most of it. But with Little Blues, it all comes in one box. And it doesn't matter if you grew up around the game or you know nothing about the game. Just get your son or daughter signed up and let everybody else handle it. They've got great coaches. The instructors are fantastic. And it's like a 6-week program. Doesn't cost a whole lot. And do 2 sessions. That's what I did. You can do more than 1 session and then decide if you want to invest all the time and the money into hockey. Like, let your kid decide if they want to do it, if they like it or not. And chances are they're going to love it, so just be prepared for that. They typically do. But this is Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. Great to have you with us. Man, what a run it's been for the Blues the last couple of days. I mean, they've been on the road forever. They finally come back home. They've got some tough matchups here at home. I really felt like this road trip was going to set the tone for the rest of the season. I thought it was shaped up beautifully for the Blues. Get the most difficult game out of the way. Typically, the Toronto game is easy for the Blues players to get up for, especially those players who are from Ontario. But even the guys who aren't from Ontario or from the Toronto area, they get up for the games in Toronto because there's so much excitement, there's so much going on, there's so much media at the morning skate, there's so many people watching the morning skate. The locker room's filled with people. It's just a different experience than what you typically find around the NHL. So you win that game. Kyrie's fantastic. Holloway's really good. Buchnevich has a great game. Bennington was great. And you feel good. And then what happens? They have a day off. Then they go to Montreal. And I'm not going to keep harping on this day off because the day off is what it is. But I just wonder if that allowed the team to maybe take their foot off the gas just a little bit. Not going to second guess, but I just wonder, okay, if you go back to the rink the next day, you practice, you maintain that level of focus and enthusiasm that you just created and generated organically by winning the game. Now you take the day off, and then you got to regroup and get yourself ready to play against Montreal, and then you have 2 days off before Ottawa. And one of those was already a scheduled day off. So I felt like, you know what? Hey, you lose to Winnipeg at home, you regroup, nice win against Toronto, practice, and then go to Montreal. Well, they didn't practice, and they weren't ready to play when the Montreal game started. They weren't ready to play. They didn't start on time. And they got back into the game. But listen, you can only do that so much. I don't care if it's a top team in the league or a bottom team. This is the National Hockey League. You want to try to come from behind. That's not easy. Chasing the game is hard. And so they couldn't, find a way to win that game in Montreal, winnable opponent. They just got completely dominated by Ottawa. I don't even know what happened in that game. I mean, you can start with the turnovers and even the first goal against, lackadaisical play, tracking back. You don't want to be a team that's easy to play against. I will say that. That's the last reputation that you want to have around the league, that you're easy to play against. And I got a little bit of that last year from some players on other teams, specifically San Jose of all teams, remember how San Jose kept beating the Blues last season? And I would ask players on that team, I'd say, why are you having so much success against St. Louis? I mean, they were the worst team in the league by far. They ended up getting the first overall pick. They draft Macklin Celebrini, who, by the way, is back practicing for San Jose, so hopefully we see him back playing soon. Will Smith got his first 2 goals of his career last night. Luke Cunnin got an assist on his first one. I like these young players that come in. You want to see them have success. I don't know if Will Smith's ready for the NHL or not, but he gets 2 goals yesterday. But I digress. Players from San Jose last year were like, they're just kind of easy to play against. And again, that's the reputation you don't want to have. Montreal, Ottawa, the Blues looked like a team that was easy to play against. Now, the effort, the compete level, it was turned up to a higher level against Philadelphia. But again, scoring is hard right now for this team. It just hasn't been easy. You look at the guys who are struggling, and there's a lot of them. And it starts with number 25 in Jordan Kyrou, and everyone's going to focus on the turnover. Yeah, it was a bad turnover. But that's exactly what it was, man. He fumbled the puck. He bobbled the puck. Go listen to the interview we did with Adam Oates on the Cam and Strick podcast and how many chances against are creative off of players not handling pucks cleanly, not catching pucks cleanly, bobbling pucks, mishandling pucks, and that's what happened with Kyrou. Different type of turnovers than what you saw with Bolduc, for example, against Ottawa. Who just gave the puck to Adam Gaudette. He just gave it to him. I mean, he didn't even have to make a pass. First off, you don't want to pass the puck in front of the net. We see a lot of teams do that now, and not necessarily in front, but the center supports down low, and typically that play, that little bump to the middle of the ice when you're breaking out, typically that is open. But in this particular situation, again, he kind of fanned on it, didn't get enough on it. Mistakes are going to happen. But he could have kept skating, taking it around the net, maybe make a safer play. The game was well out of reach by that point. The neighbor's turnover was even worse. That was off the rush. And it's a little bit of a lack of awareness for me. You want to make sure you have your head up, you scan the ice, and you see the play that's there before you try to make the play. Now, sometimes you don't have time to do that, and a lot of these guys have such great hockey sense that they can make plays without seeing it. They just know where each other are at when you have great chemistry. But he put it behind Brandon Saad, and it was Stützle, right, who came back the other way and made the Blues pay. Stützle's a good player, skilled. I'll tell you this about Stützle, though, man. He loves to get into the mix after the whistle, knowing that Brady Tkachuk's on the ice with him. I guess if I had Brady with me, too, I would just stir up crap after every whistle, too. But terrible loss, and again, you just wanted to, throw that tape away. Everyone looks at things differently, and maybe they did look at it from a video standpoint, and the coaching staff utilized it to teach, but usually you just want to get rid of those. I mean, you see, a lot of teams are just getting pounded right now. We've seen some scores that have just been kind of out of whack. The Hurricanes beat Boston last night 8-2. Boston's in last place. What's going to happen in Boston? I keep wanting to put out my Quenneville rankings. I love Monty. I always felt like Monty would be a coach here in St. Louis at some point. He left on such great terms. The Blues gave him a chance. He's got St. Louis roots. That one day before his coaching career is over, he's going to find his way here to St. Louis. Before it's all said and done. The Oilers, without Connor McDavid, they go into Nashville. On the road, they win 5-1. So it's a crazy league, man. San Jose beats Chicago. That's like the toilet bowl with San Jose and Chicago. Chicago, they're now 3-7, 3-7-1. I felt like at the beginning of the year, San Jose was just clear and cut the worst team in the NHL. It wasn't even close, but now they beat Chicago, so who knows? Maybe Chicago may take that claim. A few games ago, there's been some other just massive, massive blowouts. Vancouver loses 6-0 at home to New Jersey. It's a crazy league, like I said. LA puts up 6 on Vegas a couple nights ago. And they win 6-3. So anybody can beat anybody. You don't want to get in a habit of losing 8-1. But these things can happen. Look at the way Columbus is playing right now. Columbus, and they're blowing some teams out too, like when you don't necessarily expect it. They beat Edmonton at home 6-1. I want to say they were up 6-0 at one point in that game. And Columbus, man, they become. I always said Ottawa was like my favorite team out of the East. Columbus is challenging Ottawa for that distinction. When you look at Ottawa right now, they're 5-4. Columbus in the Eastern Conference, man, they find themselves in 5th place. They're 5-3-1. Obviously playing with a heavy heart, a lot of emotion. I am pulling for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Don Waddell, I think he has that team playing loose. They're having fun. You know, he's dressing up in a Halloween costume. He's got the scooter, the Segway that he's just cruising around the office in. Listen, I like that. Some people are like chirping, like, this guy's an NHL GM. What's he doing? Having fun. How dare him? He should be serious. He should be upset all the time. No. Listen, you set the tone for the organization, and a lot of times, I mean, you're not always around the team, and it's not the job of the GM to do that. But in this particular case, Don Waddell, when the players see that, I'm sure they all got a good chuckle out of it, and it loosens up the group. And it kind of came out of nowhere. It's not something you would typically see Don Waddell do, you know? A little out of character, but he's a funny guy, nice guy. I mean, could you imagine like Lou Lamoriello doing that? No, probably not. But there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of a good time. But the Blues need to find a way to get it going. Listen, reality is set in with not having Robert Thomas, and that's just the reality of it. You don't have him. You're not going to have him for an extended period of time. Now, I did hear from somebody that they could reevaluate this thing in 4 weeks versus 6. Now, let's hope it doesn't take the full 6 weeks. They need this guy back. He's pushing for Hockey Canada, for the Four Nations. I'd love to see Robert Thomas represent the Blues and get an opportunity to make that roster. I know he wasn't playing great at the time of his injury, but he's your best player. And these type of guys typically find a way to flip the switch and get it going. And when you take him out of the equation, it disrupts everything. And it looks like it's disrupting the play of a couple of other guys. Pavel Buchnevich, listen, I don't want to call it an experiment playing him at center, because it's not an experiment. He's done this before. So he has experience doing it in the past. So it can't be an experiment if he's been given this opportunity or if he's had this experience a lot of times in the past. But you just wonder, is this the best thing for the team? I said at the beginning of the season it was the best thing for the team. I think there was a need to put Buchnevich in the middle. It gave you a nice, solid top 3 down the middle for your team, starting with Thomas, Buchnevich, Schenn. I didn't mind it. But Schenn plays the wing last night. And I know the conversation with Buchnevich, and I talked to Buchnevich about this. Like, he told the team, listen, if you're going to put me at center, leave me at center. I don't want to be bouncing back and forth. But it may be time to get him back on the wing. And it's not about saying, well, we made a mistake or it's not working, because I don't look at it like that. This guy's played good hockey at the center position in the past. You have a need. Asking Braden Schenn at this stage to be a second-line center or a first-line center is probably asking a lot. But now you got to find a way to get Buchnevich and his confidence back and get his game going. And would it be easier for him to find that confidence and to find his rhythm by getting him back on his natural wing position? I think it's something that you probably want to think hard about. I'm sure they are discussing it right now. Not having Thomas makes things even more difficult. You do have Sundqvist back, who centered the fourth line last night. He didn't play a ton. Fox, maybe a little bit overextended in the 3-hole, but he can certainly give you valuable minutes in the 3-hole. I think he can play the 3, though. He can be a 3C. He's a great 4C. But I think if needed, he can be a 3C. Got Holloway playing center, which is fine, but you've kind of got a lot of guys moving in and out. I wouldn't mind to see Buchnevich get back on the wing for a couple of games. Get that confidence back to where he needs it to be effective, but where the team needs it. They need Buchnevich to be an A player. You can't have Buchnevich being a B- or a C+ player. He's got to be an A player for this team to win games and to stay in the thick of this. Otherwise, it could fall apart. And you don't want to see that happening. Hey, you got some hard teams coming into town, starting with Toronto on Saturday, then Tampa Bay. Utah's coming here. It's going to be Boston. It's going to be a challenging homestand, but the Blues have been very good at home the last couple of years, and let's hope that they get that confidence and they find their game here on home ice at the Enterprise Center. I'm looking forward to Saturday night, baby. Craig Berube was just texting with him a little bit ago. He's excited to come back to St. Louis. The team's won their last couple of games, talking about Toronto. They were taking some heat early on. You got William Nylander complaining about ice time, then he goes out and scores 2 goals. I mean, it's a different animal over there in Toronto. There's no doubt. I'm looking forward to talking with Chief tomorrow and getting his thoughts on how everything's going and whatnot. But this is going to be a challenging game for the Blues. The Blues typically play very well against Toronto. They just did. They just beat him at Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, and we'll see if they can do it on home ice coming up again tomorrow. Don't forget, it's an early start time, 6 o'clock drop of the puck. These Saturday night games are at 6 o'clock. Lordo's Diamonds, get that special someone, something special in your life. From Lordo's Diamonds, man, Mike and Jimmy Lordo, they are standing by, ready to take care of you. It's hard to believe we are in November. When does the Christmas season officially begin? I've always said it's a day after Thanksgiving. A lot of people want to celebrate Christmas starting right after Halloween. That's too early for me. And I hope all of you had a great Halloween on Thursday. Halloween should be like 2 days. We have so much leftover candy. I need the kids coming over one more day to get some of this candy out of the house. But it's hard. I don't remember Halloween when I was a kid, the next day, going back to school, having it be so difficult. I mean, it's harder to get your kids up and ready for school the day after Halloween than it was, as far as I can remember, getting up and going to school. I never went late the day after Halloween. Now all the kids go late. It's like a thing. We're going late the day after Halloween. We're going to be late. When did that become a thing? But I love Halloween, but like having to work or having school the next day, that can be challenging, man. I feel bad for these teachers too, but it is what it is. People have always suggested moving Halloween permanently to a weekend. The older I get, the more I say, hey, why not? But I'm a traditionalist at the same time. Halloween's got to be on October 31st. It's got to be on October 31st. But it was great seeing all the kids outside last night, man. And last night felt like, hey, just felt safe in my neighborhood. No concern. Kids are running around all over the place. No issue. It just kind of felt like back in the day. Lordo's Diamonds will take you back in the day. Get that special someone in your life. Something special this holiday season. Mike and Jimmy, they will take the best care of you. If you have a $500,000 budget or a $500 budget, they have got something for you, and they're going to treat you exactly the same. They won't treat you any differently. If you're the guy with a $1,000 budget or a $500 budget, you're going to get the same type of respect and the same type of customer service as the guy who's coming in wanting to spend $250,000. Trust me. I've seen it, and I've been a part of it. So check out lordosdiamonds.com. Stop on in there, right in the heart of Ladue, right next to Truffles. Can't miss it. 314-432-8008, baby. Arco Construction taking St. Louis hockey to the next level, one ice rink at a time. They built that beautiful ice rink out there in Chesterfield, that two-sheet facility. The Blues practice facility, they also built that at the Centene Community Ice Center. So that's a great spot, too. So check that out. Arco Construction taking St. Louis hockey to the next level, one ice rink at a time. Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop. That Cam & Strick Mango Lemonade Hard Seltzer is on the shelves. Pick one up. Pick up a 4-pack and do it today. The best hard seltzer on the market, I can promise you. Four Hands Brewing Company. They've got all the tasting rooms spread out around town from Chesterfield to downtown. Food from Peacemaker at the downtown location. Food from Peacemaker at the Kirkwood location, which is incredible, by the way. Oh, my God. And then food from High Point. Does it get any better than that? At the Chesterfield location, they've got a huge outdoor area for the kids to play and do all that. High Point, man, that's a great place for the families to go to. It's not just a bar. It's a family restaurant, too, really, in reality. They welcome the families over there at Four Hands Brewing Company. So check that out and do it today. Blue Note Roofing, my main man, David Novak, man, he was in studio with us last week. Passionate Blues fan. Passionate hockey fan. Knows his stuff, too. 314-920-5713. Call him today and let them come out and check it out, man. Give you a free estimate. You know, I was talking to somebody last night. They said, hey, do you know that if your roof is more than 10 years old, some insurance companies will not pay for a new roof if it's more than 10 years old? I didn't know that. Call David Novak. Ask him about that, because if that's the case, now's the best time to get him out to your house. Get an estimate and find out if you need a new roof. Say you have a roof that's 9 years old and all of a sudden get the estimate and you find out you need a new roof. You don't want to wait because insurance may not pay for it. Call David Novak today. He's got that yellow truck, all the Blues logos on there. You can't miss it. Blue Note Roofing. Gutters, soffit, fascia, siding, roofing, they do it all. David Novak, baby. All right. This is Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. I should tell you who the special guest is on this edition. Dalibor Divorsky, man. This guy's gotten off to a good start playing down in the American League. He's still only 19 years old. His story of coming to North America is pretty fascinating. I love talking to this guy. And I wanted to get Dalibor on, and my point in getting him on is not to say the Blues need to call him up, so don't read into that. You know, like, if he's not ready, he's not ready. If he wasn't ready a few weeks ago, probably isn't ready now. It is what it is. Let him get some seasoning in down in the American League, get confident, understand the professional game, and just no rush on that, right? With Dalibor Divorsky. But when he does get here, you want to make sure that he's ready to contribute right away. And I don't think that's going to be a problem. This guy has natural ability. He's putting up points. I think he had 5 points in 8 games so far, which you compare that to other 19-year-olds, man, they don't typically put up 5 points in the first 8 games. So this guy's finding a way to have an impact. They've had some injuries. He's had some moving parts in terms of who he's been playing with and all that type of stuff. But listen, love talking with Dalibor Divorsky. 10th overall pick back in 2023. Probably the number 1 ranked prospect in the Blues organization. They've got some good ones coming. He is certainly at the top of the list and gets a lot of attention from Blues fans. So I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Dalibor Divorsky, that's coming up next on this edition of Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. We're live in the Half Coast Studios with our main man, Aiden. Man, great to be with you on a Friday. Our Friday tradition continues here on Hockey Sense. I'm Andy Strickland. Stay with us. All right, back here on Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. Always great to have you with us, as always. Dalibor Divorsky. Fans are always interested to see what Dalibor is up to. 10th overall pick last year in 2023, and now enjoying his rookie season as a professional hockey player. Dalibor, thanks for doing this, man. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
First season, I'm good. First season as a pro. Like, the biggest difference going from the OHL to the American League where you're playing right now, what's the biggest difference?
Probably the physicality, and all the players are smarter, better technically. So probably these things. Also pace of the game. It goes much faster.
Hey, what was your approach entering training camp? I know you've been to some prospect camps. You were playing in the rookie tournament, but your first main camp in the National Hockey League. What was your approach heading into camp? What'd you get out of it? Just what was the overall experience like?
Just to play as good as I can every single game, just to leave my all out there. That was my approach. That's my approach all the time when I'm on the ice. So no, it's been a good camp. Great to meet all the guys and everything. So my approach was just to do my best every time I'm out there.
All right, you're 19 years old. So what were your expectations? Like, were you disappointed that you got sent down? Were you expecting that? Or did you leave with a good feeling in terms of where you're at with your game right now, and this is going to be an important year for your development?
Obviously everyone that's there wants to make it, right? Like me too. And but I got sent here to the A, so now I'm here and just trying to improve every single day. And yeah, that's kind of it.
All right, your conversations with Doug Armstrong, whoever else, I mean, whether it was Steve Ott, Drew Bannister, during training camp, and especially when you were about to leave Dalibor, what did they tell you, some things that maybe stand out in terms of your focus where it should be and keeping your head up as you go down to play your first pro season?
Yeah, well, no, they just told me to, focus on the small details and just to be in the moment, not to look too much forward, and try to, improve on those details to get like familiar with the system and everything.
You got 5 points in 8 games, so you're producing. Are you happy with the way you played so far? Or do you feel like there's another level for Dalibor Divorsky?
I can for sure get better. I mean, there is always things to improve on, and I just want to get better game by game to help the team win and to be the best player as I can be.
Hey, remind me who you play with mostly during training camp in the preseason. Who'd they have you with?
Well, I started out with Braden Shen and Jake Neighbors, and then it switched a little bit. I had a different line a lot of times, but I started with those two guys, and that was an awesome experience. They both helped me a lot on the ice. Like obviously, Tanner is super experienced, like amazing NHL player, the captain, and Jakey as well, a great player a lot of years. He's playing in the NHL, so it's been really good for me to practice with them and also play games, and I learned a lot from them.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what your conversations were like because Shem was playing on the wing. He's a natural center like you, so they put you in your natural position. Did you feel comfortable with two established NHLers? I know Jake Neighbors is still a young player, but he certainly has found his way in the NHL and found a role on the team, and he's a really good player. So did you feel comfortable? Are you nervous right off the bat? What's it like for a young kid in camp?
Yeah, the first practice I was a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I was a little nervous first practice, but like I said, both guys were great to me. They helped me a lot. We talked throughout the practices. They gave me some advice. So no, it was really good to be with them. But yeah, I was nervous a little bit, especially the first practice.
Hey, what's your setup like there in Springfield? Are you living by yourself? You got a roommate? You living with Zach Dean? Like, who you shacking up with?
No, I'm living on my own. I have a little one-bedroom apartment here, so I'm living by myself, and yeah, pretty close to the rink. So it's been good.
A lot of these European players, and especially a guy like yourself, you come all the way over to the OHL last year. You've been playing. You've played in Sweden. You bounced around to different countries. So you're kind of forced to grow up at a young age. Is this the first time you live by yourself, or have you done this before?
No, I've done it in Sweden as well. I live on my own there as well. Well, last year it was a built family, so not totally by myself, but I've done it in Sweden before, so I kind of knew what to expect and everything.
Are you a cook? I mean, are you ready for people to be banging on your door tonight? It's Halloween, Dalibor.
I hope not, because I don't have anything to give them. So I hope no one will bang on my door. And I can cook something, not the best cook. I'll be honest here. No, but I can cook something. Yeah, something.
No candy, but you better have some candy handy. Hey, if a kid knocks on the door, they want candy, Dalibor. You got to come through.
I know that might be a small problem. I live in an apartment building, so I hope no one comes here. That might be an issue, but yeah, I don't know what I would give them, honestly. Maybe an apple.
Yeah, there you go. I avoid houses like you when I was a kid. I don't want the apple. Some families.
I know. Well, that's why I should. I hope no one gets here. Then I'm in trouble.
Yeah. No. Was Halloween a thing growing up in Slovakia? Like, did you guys dress up for Halloween? Like, is it even exist, or is it way different than what we do here in the States?
It is a thing. Like everyone knows about Halloween. People dress. They have Halloween parties, but it's not as big as in the U.S. for sure. Like it's definitely bigger here than back home.
All right. So, what was life like growing up for you? Like, when did you really start taking hockey serious? And who do you credit for helping you get to where you are right now? Is there somebody back home that really took you under their wing and helped you get here?
I mean, definitely my parents. My mom, my dad. They helped me a lot moving to Sweden at a pretty young age, and they were there with me most of the time. So definitely them. They are the biggest reason that I'm here right now. So they are for sure. I'm most thankful to them, and obviously I had great coaches throughout the way. Had really good teammates. I played pro at a young age, and like in Europe, and I learned from those guys over there. there's a lot of people that helped me, but especially my parents.
How is your English so good? How'd you learn English?
In Sweden, well, like I said, I couldn't speak Swedish back then when I got there, and English is pretty, a lot of people can speak English in Sweden, so that's why I learned. But throughout the time I was there, I also learned Swedish. So yeah, I started speaking Swedish as well. But yeah, that's how I learned English because I was in Sweden.
How many languages are you speaking?
And just three. Well, Czech and Slovak is technically the same. Like we understand everything, so you could say four, but three languages: Swedish, Slovak, and English.
I got to know Pavel Dimitri really well when he played here, obviously, and always kept in touch with him after he left here and played with other teams. But I love that generation of Slovakian players, with Marian Gaborik and Hossa.
Yeah.
I mean, Chara, you can go up and down the line. I mean, there's so many great players. I don't want to forget anybody. The Stasnys, obviously, having a St. Louis connection, even though Paul played for Team USA. Jan did as well. But Peter, obviously, a legendary figure up there with Slovakia. Who was your guy growing up? Who did you really try to model your game after, and who was your favorite player?
Well, my Slovak favorite players, I didn't have a favorite one, but I always looked up to those guys who said like Hossa, Gaborik, Demitra, even Michal Handruš. Yeah, he played in St. Louis as well. And then I think I'm kind of my own player, but I always looked up to Sidney Crosby a lot, Nicholas Backstrom, these guys. Andrzej Kopitar a lot.
Oh, yeah.
He's an amazing player.
My kid just played against his son's team last week in the championship game of a tournament. We won, though, against Kopitar's team.
Was he there? Like in his game?
He wasn't there. I wasn't there either. I was working.
Okay.
But he's playing. So, and it was at the University of Notre Dame. You never considered going to play U.S. college, did you?
No, that was never really a thought, no.
All right, what happened in Sweden last year? You played a handful of games before coming over to the OHL. Like, break that down for me, man. What went down? Like, why was it challenging? Why did you feel like it was best to leave and go to the OHL?
You mean when I started in the SHL? Started last year?
Yeah, started in the SHL last year. Yeah.
I don't know. Well, we started the year there, and the team lost. Some first games, and my ice time went down, and together with St. Louis and with my family agent, we all had a discussion, and we said that the OHL would be the best option for me. I got a lot of ice time. I had great team as well, and that would be the best decision. And it turned out to be really good for me to be there last year. I had a great year in the O, and I had really good teammates, great line mates. So great build family, so it all went down really well.
Yeah, you put up 88 points in 52 games, man. I was following you along last year, as the season was going on. You just kept putting up more and more points. You're scoring goals. You're getting assists. Was that league better than you thought it would be? Like, what were your expectations, and what'd you walk away with in terms of feeling about the Ontario League?
I went into the O, I had absolutely no idea what to expect. I'm not gonna lie, I've never seen an OHL game before in my life. Before I got there, I had no idea what to expect. So I really had no idea. I asked a little bit, like when I got to know that I'm going there, I called a few buddies that play in that league just to ask how it is. And it's the league. My first, there's a lot of skilled players. A bunch of drafted guys or guys that are about to get drafted. No, it's a fast league. I had to get used to it. The first 7 games, I didn't put up as much points. I was getting used to everything there because it's much different than European hockey. Like the smaller rink, especially, it's a really big difference. But then I think I got used to it pretty good, and I had a good year. So it was good that I went there.
Yeah. So you knew they had your rights, though. Was that even in your mindset entering the season? Were you even thinking like, maybe if things didn't go the way you wanted to go in Sweden, that you could find yourself in Sudbury, Ontario, playing in the Ontario League?
I always, when I go into something, I don't really think about anything else. I'm just focused at the things that I'm going into, that I'm doing. So I didn't even think about going to the OHL starting last season. But I don't know when someone brought up that thought that it would maybe be good to go there when we considered about changing teams. And yeah, I was totally open. Like the when I got drafted to the OHL back 3 years ago, I think. The GM Rob Papinow, he called me. I didn't even really know that that the draft was going on. He just called me, said, "Congrats, you're being drafted to Sudbury." I'm like, "Yeah, awesome! Like, thank you." I didn't really like think about it too much, but I stayed in touch with Rob. He was great. He always texted me about anything, and that's also a good thing that we stayed in touch. Like even like throughout those 2 years when I had no idea I was gonna go to we always kept texting and stuff. He checked up on me, and that made the transition also easier that we stayed in touch.
Yeah, some great players have come out of the O.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
like
my god.
like on your
So many good players.
on your flight over here, are you like doing some research and being like, oh wow, this guy came out of the O, this guy came out of the O? Like, it's probably the best junior league in the world, although other leagues maybe have caught up, and you've got the WHL and the Quebec League, obviously, which has had their turn and their run of having great years where they've got a ton of players coming out of those leagues as well. But did you start to do some research? You knew you were going to a good league and a great development league and a league that develops a lot of NHL stars, right?
Exactly. That's also what I know about the league. It developed so much good players. And I back then I never bought Wi-Fi on the plane, but this time I bought Wi-Fi on the plane, and the only reason was to watch some OHL highlights, just to know something about the league. And no, I also did some research. A lot of great players came out of the league that play their NHL stars right now. So no, it's a great, really good development league.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a good decision for you to do that. Hey, were you ever thinking about 100 points last year? Like, I when you got to like 70, I was like, man, I wonder if this guy can like really get hot and you got to 88 in 50 plus games, in 52 games. So you would have had a full season, you would have gotten there. But were you ever thinking like 100? You got to 50 goals, so that was probably huge for you, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, I wanted to get to 100. Like, it's a great number, and but I didn't think about it too much. Like, I just went game by game. I didn't think anything forward. I just wanted to build up as much points and like to be as good for team as possible. But yeah, that thought came up to me a few times. It would be cool to hit 100. Yeah, had 88. So oh, that's good. But
It's not bad, Dalibor.
not bad. Not bad.
I said 50 goals, 45 goals in 52
45.
games. Yeah.
Yeah.
50 would have been nice.
50 would have been sick. Yeah, maybe I should have shot more. I had like 10 posts, so maybe I would have gone in.
Where was your favorite?
Well,
yeah, I know. What was your favorite building to play in? Because they got a lot of historic buildings,
Our rink, for sure. Sudbury rink. Because a lot of teams hate to play in the rink because it's pretty old, but I loved playing at home. Like our fans were amazing. We were almost sold out every single game, and I just loved playing in that rink. It was every night in that rink was special. It was so fun.
What about visiting rink?
My favorite visiting rink? I don't know. There's a bunch of good rinks in the OHL. I like Barry's rink.
Very cool.
Barry Coles. That rink was fun to play at. One away game I wanted to play was London because everybody keeps talking about how good the rank is on the fans. I never got to play because I was on World Juniors when our guys played in London. But let me think here a little bit. There's a bunch of teams in the O.
Oshawa, Kitchener.
No, I think Barry was my favorite away rink.
Okay, you probably would have liked London. London's a great atmosphere too. Especially they packed the house, and you said you couldn't play in it. But hey, your boy Quentin Musty, he entered his holdout today. Did you see that? So now he's back in Sudbury.
Back in Sudbury now?
Yeah, he entered
his. I did not see that. No, I texted with him a few days back, asking what he about to do. So I might call him soon to ask how he's doing. But so he's back in the Suds now, yeah.
Yeah, as of today, he ended the holdout, which is good, man. He's a San Jose pick, and he needs to play, right? You can't just sit out.
Of course.
Not play.
No, of course. No, he's in. I started off with him and David Goed in the same line when I got to Sudbury, and It was so fun to play with those guys. Like great players, really good guys in the room. It was no, it was so fun just to play with those two guys in the same line. We had some fun together.
Oh yeah, go yeah. I think he's in where in Coachella maybe.
Yeah, he's in Coachella right now.
Okay.
Yeah, he won the scoring league last year in the O, so obviously, he's good.
Did he say thank you to you for coming over to help him win the scoring league, the scoring title?
Yeah, we had a good talk after the season, all three of us. So no, like I said, great guys, and I wish them all the best.
Hey, you mentioned your parents. Have they been able to come over and watch you play? Like, did they come over last year, and have they been able to come over this season?
Yeah, they came over. They came over twice last year. First when I got to South, like 2 weeks after I got there, my dad flew over. He went there, and then I think it was after like maybe February. Both mom, dad, and my sister got there. They went there for a week or a week and a half. So yeah, they visited me twice last year.
Is your dad a hockey guy? Like, was he a coach? Did he play when he was growing up, or no?
No one in my family ever played hockey. No one. I'm the first guy in the family to play hockey. First
Is
guy.
is hockey popular in your hometown? Like, do a lot of kids play, or
Oh
no?
yeah.
It is.
No, hockey is the most popular sport in Slovakia for sure. And in my hometown, the last 5 years, they won like league twice. They've been to the final, I think, 3 or 4 times. So no, it's my town is a really, really big hockey city. Like hockey is the biggest sport there for sure. And in whole Slovakia, like when it's the world champ, always every year. I know you guys don't really follow that, WHF World Championship, but whole Slovakia is just living with hockey those 2.5 weeks when the tournament is
Yeah.
when they play tournament.
We follow it. I mean, there's so many American players that go over there and play, and Canadian players that do as well. But
Yeah.
it's just typically the best players either choose not to go or are playing in the Stanley Cup playoffs, right? So
That's what I'm saying. You have Stanley Cup playoffs here, so obviously you guys watch that and follow that more.
yeah. So then they don't end up coming up.
Yeah.
Listen, a couple more things for you, and I'll let you go. How often are you watching the Blues play? Like, do you pay attention? Do you try to catch them as much as you
Yeah, I
possibly
mean,
can?
always when I'm off, when we don't play games, I just try to watch some periods, sometimes the whole game. Like when I have time, I just turn it on and I watch them play. I like to watch the guys and to see them play.
So what's the next step for you? What do you really think you need to improve on, or you want to improve on before you begin your NHL career?
I feel like I need to improve on everything, like to get to know the system and improve on that, and overall everything. Just get used to the pro hockey, and I think I'm getting used to it pretty well. Like it's getting better and better every game, and just yeah, like I said, just improve as much as I can here.
Are you a patient guy in general? Like, like, listen, you're gonna have a long NHL career, and you're gonna get here, and like, at some point in your career, it's gonna be like way in the rearview mirror that you played in the American League, right? It's gonna be a long time, but are you patient? Like, are you willing to give yourself time to say, hey, listen, I got to develop. I'm just gonna play as well as I possibly can, and when they make the decision to bring me up, then that's my time.
I mean, I obviously I want to get there as soon as I can, but I know that I need to improve on things. Like I could be more patient and that I'm not gonna lie, but I know that I need to improve on stuff, and I trust the coaches, and they know what they're doing. They've done this for such a long time, so I'm here now and try to improve on all those things they tell me to, and but yeah, I want to get there as fast as possible. Obviously, like I mean, who doesn't though? Like everyone wants to play in the NHL.
Yeah, of course, of course. Have you had three
Yeah.
games in 3 nights yet?
Oh yeah, last year I had like six of those. So I know what it's about, but the difference is that these games are so much more tiring. Like every game is really tiring, and the 3-3 here is pretty tough. But it's also a good experience though. Like I probably won't have 3-3s anymore. Like in the future, but I had it now. We have a few more this year coming up, so it's pretty tough. But it's also like good mental practice to keep focused. Like the third game, just be dialed in.
Oh yeah.
It's tough, but Yeah, it's good practice.
Yeah, I can only imagine. You got some other young players down there. Obviously, it's the American League. You're going to have some young guys, but like Zach Dean's around there, right? Dylan Peterson, who's been scoring some goals. Who you hanging out with the most? And has anybody caught your attention that the fans should know that's playing good hockey down there?
I hang out a lot with obviously with the younger guys like Kaskimäki or Michael Buchinger, Connor Robertson, Petey, Dior as well, all these younger guys that are here. But I think we had a great group in the room. Like we talk with everyone. Like everyone is a really good guy. Even the older guys like Pex, Mac, Pally, Ollie, Harry as well. The older guys, they're really good guys. But I hang out most with the younger ones. And Petey had a great start to the season. Is I think four goals now, 6 points, and a lot of guys in the team are playing good hockey. So yeah, I think we just have to keep building as a team, and I think we're getting better and better. So no, it's really fun to go to the rink and practice every day.
All right, man. Listen, keep doing what you're doing. You gotten off to a good start down there, and it's only a matter of time before we see you full time up here in the NHL. We look forward to that day whenever it comes, and looking forward to that, man. So enjoy the rest of the season. Hopefully no one knocks on your door tonight asking for candy, and you just get to relax and kick your feet up for the night and prepare for the games coming up this weekend. So all the best, Dalibor, man. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it, man. We'll talk soon.
Thanks.
Yep.
Bye.
That's Dalibor Divorsky. Looking forward to seeing him back up here in St. Louis. Hey, we'll take a little break here. We'll step aside. Jamal Mayers is going to join us. Looking forward to that. We'll break down a lot of things in regard to the NHL. Look forward to the weekend and obviously, everything that's going on around the NHL over the course of the last couple of days as well. So looking forward to that as we continue on here on Hockey Sense. Brought to you by First Community. I'm Andy Strickland. Thanks for hanging out. All right, back here on Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. Jamal Mayers, last week you were on the West Coast. Where are you at today?
I'm in Chicago. Big tournament for the boys.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of teams up there.
A lot of teams.
This used to be the Nike Bauer, I believe, correct? Am I right about that? And they changed the name?
Yeah, it's CCM now, I think, sponsors it, but it's a 200 by 85 deal.
Yeah. Are teams coming from all over? Are these teams that you're familiar with? You guys played once already, right?
Great question. We're actually playing Slovakia this afternoon.
I saw that on your schedule, the Slovakia Falcons. Is that what I saw?
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Because I was seeing what time your game was this morning. I'm not going to lie. I actually tuned in for a little bit of it.
Oh, my goodness.
But I stopped when you guys were down 2-1. I just had to stop.
Oh, you didn't watch the third?
I didn't watch the third. I went to another game, actually, Jamal. I went to watch another 2015s. I wanted to see how they were doing because I know some of those kids who were playing. And I was only able to catch a little bit of that game, too. But that's the best part about Live Bar, man. Live Bar should be on here sponsoring. When it's working, it's great.
That'll be their tagline.
Yeah, they do a good job, though, with it. I always wonder, though, and I'm curious, all the hockey parents out there, is there a way to make it better? If we need to invent better cameras or something, Jamal. They should be in, HD nowadays,
Well, it'll get there eventually. They probably need another round of funding now that they're in almost every rink.
But could you imagine if they had that when you were a kid? Every goal you scored when you were a kid, or every play you made, or every game you ever had, you just completely erased. You'll never know how it went, right? You can tell anybody. There's no proof.
That's right.
So
there is no proof.
Well, good luck this weekend. The Blues lose again last night, Jamal. I'm just curious, man. I looked at this road trip. The most difficult game they were going to face was going to be Toronto. And then I said, wow, Montreal, Ottawa, Philadelphia, this could end up being a really, really nice trip for the Blues and could really set the tone now for this 5-game homestand coming back. You don't have Robert Thomas, which we'll get into here in just a minute, but disappointing to not get any points in those 3 games.
I think you're right. If you looked at the schedule, you would have said, you know what, Toronto's going to be a tough one, especially with Chief being there, and it's going to be they're going to certainly be motivated. You never want to look past any team, but it really is unfortunate that they weren't able to find a way to win those 3 games. Those are games, let's be honest, you look at the schedule, we've got to win those games. And all 3 of them on the road. And the fact that you only score 4 goals in those 3 games and you give up 15 goals, that's not good. So, but the good thing is it's early. They have played well this year. They can use that as the benchmark. So there is enough video for the coaches to go over and show them what the standard is that they had at the beginning of the year. Yes, they have injuries and they have things they have to clean up. But I think it's always good to have a little bit of a lull, or if you will, at the beginning of the year, because it allows the coaches to coach.
When you lose 8-1, recovering from those games, I don't know. I've heard some people in the past say, well, it's actually easier to get over that one because you just turn the page and you just move on. But is it different, though, in this situation after losing the previous game to Montreal, how the game went? I mean, they were so sloppy, turning the pucks over left and right. Just is it when you're not winning all the time, though, is it harder to not have that linger?
I think the consecutiveness of the efforts in regard to Montreal and then Ottawa, it does compound. If you just isolated the Ottawa game, you would say throw it in the trash. Mm-hmm. No big deal. I don't even want to watch the video. But because it was on the heels of the Montreal game, it does cause more concern. Having said that, there's no easy nights. There's no easy nights. Every team's trying to get better. Every team's pushing forward. And that includes Philly. That includes Ottawa. That a lot of people say underachieved the last 3 years. That includes Montreal. They're all looking to take another step. And so it's not easy to do. It's not easy to win in this league. You've got to find a way to bring it every night. And if you don't have a chance. Mm-hmm. No, it hurts not having your best player. Right? So everyone gets slotted up a little bit differently. And it's almost like one of those things for the coach to say, okay, you want to be in that position. You want to play in the third line role. You want to move up to the second line. Well, now you got to do it. Now you got to produce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, I agree with you. And you're right. Anybody can beat anybody. And I know Carolina's a great team, but, they just beat Boston 8-2. Columbus beats Edmonton 6-1 a couple of nights ago. That was with McDavid. Yeah, I think McDavid got hurt in that game, actually. And then without McDavid, Edmonton goes into to Nashville. They win 4-1. You just see some of these scores. I'm not saying these are all upsets and whatnot, but they're, games that are separated by 4 or 5, 6 goals, whatever. So we've seen some blowouts,
And it doesn't come easier. Think about this homestand. It's 5 games, right, on this homestand?
Yeah, tough teams.
You got Toronto, who's going to be motivated, obviously, with Coach Berube coming back. You got Tampa, that's kind of spluttered a little bit. They're kind of finding their sea legs. Utah, who's been very inconsistent, started the season extremely well, had a stinker in a bad loss against the Sharks in the final 5 minutes, rebounded to have a big win against Calgary. You've got the Capitals, who are playing way better than anybody thought they would play. I thought they'd be terrible and only be looking for Ovi to score goals. They look good. And you got Boston, who's been very inconsistent this year, that will be motivated again because Montgomery's coming back to St. Louis. Every one of those teams has a reason to win that goes beyond just winning the game. So this homestand is not going to be easy.
You think Monty's in trouble? There was some speculation about that recently. He's kind of overachieved the last couple of years. He hasn't gotten it done in the playoffs, so I get that. But everyone's always kind of counted this team out, and they put together some really good regular seasons. This year, it looks like it's going to be a little bit of a different challenge for him.
Yeah, he's in trouble. They're 4-6-1. This is a team that believes that they have, a chance to win a cup. I really do think they think that. Not making the playoffs is not an option for them. They will be evaluating things after 25 games. I don't even think people make it to. It used to be Thanksgiving, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's not even that anymore. It's sooner.
Let me ask you this though, because I mean, you saw what happened when the Blues fired Mike Yeo and Chiefs took over. They win the Cup. You see it with Knobloch last year, right? They go all the way to the Stanley Cup final, Game 7. After, firing Jay Woodcroft there in Edmonton. And other teams have done this, right? The midseason coaching change. Do you think general managers are looking at that and being like, hey, this may be a way to spark the team?
Absolutely. I think if they have an honest evaluation of where their team should be based on what they really believe they are, who they should be, that's the easiest decision to make. It's the easiest, toughest decision to make, to change things.
Yeah.
If you believe your team is underachieved. I mean, that's not just them. Look at the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Oh.
What is going on with them?
Well, they finally won in overtime last night, right? Crosby got the game winner.
Yes. And so there's other teams in the league that are in the similar boat. You could even throw Nashville in there as well. So it's really interesting to see what's going on in the league, and that's why they play the games, right? Like, there's expectations, there's prognosticators who project what people are going to do or how things are going to go, and you never know.
I keep looking at my Quenneville rankings that I put together with a few other people on a text chain because Joel Quenneville's out there, which is another thing. Maybe sometimes a GM is reluctant to make a move, but when a coach like that is available out in the market, does that accelerate your thought process? But, I mean, you've got teams like Philly, which I think they want to hang on to Torts probably at least for another year from a culture standpoint, and I don't think they're looking to make a move as quickly as some may suggest. Nashville, you brought that up. Be interesting because Andrew Burnett replaced Quimbo when he got kicked to the curb there in Florida by the league, and they're very close friends, though. Boston, who we talked about. Detroit is another one. They started to win some games after people were thinking that Derek Lalonde, the head coach there, that he was on their way out. Mike Sullivan's been there forever in Pittsburgh. So between Philly, Nashville, Boston, Detroit, Pittsburgh, what's the best job for Q?
Oh, say those again in order that you said.
Philly, Nashville, Boston, Detroit, Pittsburgh.
Nashville.
Okay.
I think they're the closest. They're probably the team that's underachieved the most so far. But how much of that is Bruno's fault? How much of it is the cohesiveness of the newness? And I think you got to let it go, let it play itself out, and see where they are after 40 games. I think that's different than Pittsburgh. I think that's different than the other places. That has a lot of new faces. I would be a little bit more patient with that group than perhaps the other examples you've given, like Boston.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh, I don't know what a new coach can really do with that aging core over there, Nashville's interesting. Andrew Burnett had a great year last year. I mean, they had a rough stretch. Remember, they canceled their Vegas trip and all that type of stuff. I mean, they lost a ton of games in a row, so they went through a spell last year where they looked, just completely out of it, and then they just caught fire. So I don't know if you can expect that again, but you hate to see these type of trends if you're Barry Trotz, where you're losing as often as they are, So I want to get back to the Blues real quick. Pavel Buchnevich, he played a decent amount of center in the past. We can't see your face now. You got that water bottle in front of your face.
Oh, geez.
There you are. Hey, we saw Pavel Buchnevich play center in the past. Listen, it was based on necessity. And now it's probably even harder because you don't have Robert Thomas, your number one center. But he's not playing with a whole lot of confidence, Jamal. His offensive game isn't there. He had 2 points on the trip, both being in the same game in Toronto. Hasn't scored in, a ton of games. He didn't score on the 4-game homestand before this 4-game road trip. So it's been at least 8 games since he scored his last goal. I think since the 3rd game of the season. He had 3 goals after 3 games. Hasn't scored since then, if I remember my research. But would you move him back to the wing, Jamal, even knowing you don't have Thomas and maybe you're a little bit weak up the middle? just in an effort to get his confidence back?
I would. I think that what's probably the most logical thing to do would be to move Schenner back to the middle, and then you can get Buchnevich back on the wing. That would move Texier down to play with Faksa and Bolduc. That would probably be the most logical move for me. I don't think Schenner is a number one center for the long term, but I think that where he is in his career, he can fill in there for like 8 to 10 games. And I think there's enough there to kind of have that balance that you want. So that's probably the decision they're looking at, in my opinion. But, it's tough it's not easy to play in the middle in the NHL.
Yeah.
He's getting tough matchups.
Ooh.
He's going to play against the other team's best. It's funny how you say that, because we all want and think, well, why can't he produce? Well, it makes you realize how valuable and how special a player like Thomas is. Not only is he able to produce, he does it against the other team's top defenders.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. So it's funny, Buchnevich is a great player and he can contribute offensively when he's slotted where he should be.
Mm-hmm. Although he scores as a winger against top players, but you're saying that's different. Yeah. It's
different. Playing center is not easy.
Mm-hmm.
You got to, because you're playing against the other team's top line most nights. So you got to work both ways.
So what's the difference to the winger? And you're not saying it's easier for a winger when you're getting tough matchups, but
yeah, it is.
But I'm just saying it's not easy, but it's easier.
Easier. Oh yeah, it's easier. First of all, playing wing is easier than playing center.
Mm-hmm.
There's less responsibility. It doesn't matter what system you're running, whether it's man on man or man and a half, or you're doing a swarm, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more on that centerman.
Before I let you go real quick, Chief coming back to St. Louis, you kind of touched on it. It's going to be a lot of emotions inside the building. He's going to be emotional, I would imagine, although he doesn't tend to get very emotional. I remember talking to him when he was facing, the Flyers for the first time, and he's, got a long history in Philadelphia with that organization. Different here. They won a cup. He loved it here. I'm just curious what your expectations will be for a Blues Saturday night tilt at the Enterprise Center.
I think the team will play better than they did at home for him. I think that he'll get an amazing reception, as he deserves, and there's a banner in the rafters because of him that will never go away. I think it's even more special for him to come back to St. Louis. I think when you're a champion somewhere, it changes that dynamic. And so, and I even think like some part of him, it feels like there's unfinished business here. So I think that it'll be a lot more emotional for him. I mean, he might not show it outwardly, but what I will be happy to see is how good the fans will treat him and the reception he'll get. I think it's gonna be pretty special, pretty amazing to see how much the fans love him, and it'll be cool to be there to see how they give him an unbelievable reception.
Yeah, all right, no doubt about that. Hey, yesterday, Jamal, guess what happened? You won't be surprised because this happens to me about every 3 months. My wife sends me a picture. She hits a curb, although she didn't know how it happened. Right?
Oh.
She didn't know how it happened. Just had a flat tire. Oh my God, I just had a flat tire. I don't know how it happened. Just automatically, the tire went flat. It's completely destroyed.
Let me guess. Right front tire.
Right rear.
Right rear. Yep. Knew it was the right side.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
100%. So I take it to Dobbs, man. They took great care of me. I got there. We had a new tire on, and we were out the door by like 1 p.m. or something like that. And this is at like 8 p.m. when she's texting me. It's not like I got on it right away, but I had to have roadside assistance come change the tire. And then we had to get it to Dobbs and everything. They're unbelievable, Jamal.
Well, there's no better endorsement than just that. And you're just a regular guy. Look at the service you get. I'm just kidding. You know what I mean, though? They take care of you. It doesn't matter, man. They're locally owned. They're family owned. They've been in business since 1976. Doesn't matter what you drive, a car, light truck, van, SUV, CUV, hybrid, or EV. Dobbs has what it takes: the experience, the technology, state-of-the-art diagnostics, to service your vehicle right. You know what they do? They get your vehicle in, up, fixed, and out the same day. Go to Dobbs.com for more.
All right. Great advice. Go to Dobbs.com for more for sure. What's on the agenda for dinner? You're out of town. You're missing. I know what you want to eat, Jamal.
Absolutely.
I know what you want.
Well, for Bartolino's, 4 restaurants: Bartolino's South, Bartolino's Osteria, Chris's Pancake and Dining, and Chris's at the Docket. And they have another restaurant now. It's 5 restaurants. They forge many lasting relationships with their customers. Their family model: cook good food, serve plenty. 50 plus years in business. Only 2 places to dine: at home or at one of Bartolino's family of restaurants.
All right, Jammer. Hey, best of luck 2012 AAA Blues. You guys are 1-0. You're playing a team from Slovakia. Hopefully they don't have like.
And we played the exhibition game yesterday.
You played against them?
We played a kickoff game yesterday.
Oh, against them?
Against Team Illinois. We tied them 2-2.
Okay.
3-3, something like that.
All right,
or maybe it was 4-4.
So you're 1-0-1.
Yes.
Well, let's hope this Slovakia team doesn't have a Chara, a Gaborik, a Hossa.
Right. No kidding.
That'd be nice. But a great experience nonetheless. They still trade pins and all that type of stuff, and all, like when we did when we were kids.
No, I know we will do that at Quebec in February, but I'm not certain if that will happen because we don't have any pins.
Yeah.
But yes, we will do that in February.
Tell me you did that too when you were a kid.
I wasn't good enough to play in the Pee Wee Quebec. I played in the Gatineau AA tournament.
Well, I'm saying like that you would trade pins or whatever else with other teams. Like you guys would do that.
I think we did do that at tournaments, yes.
Yeah, we did that. Okay. Good stuff, Jammer. Appreciate it as always. We'll talk soon.
All right, buddy. Good talking to you.
All right, likewise.
Thanks.
That's Jamal Mayers. We'll come back and wrap things up after this. Don't go anywhere. All right, listen, we appreciate Jamal Mayers for joining us in the last segment. Dalibor Divorsky, former 10th overall pick. Great having him on. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Hit me up in the comments. Plus, I've got the worst tennis elbow I've ever had. I think it's hockey-related. Just snapping pucks around in my kids' practice has messed up my elbow. If you have a remedy, an at-home remedy, please pass it along because I'm in some pain there with my elbow. First Community brings us Hockey Sense each and every week. We love our partnership with First Community. They are the absolute best. And when I think about First Community, man, I think about so many different ways to do your banking. Fall is here, as you know. It didn't feel like it, but now, like today feels like a real fall day. Temperatures are going down. Guess what else has? Home loan rates are going down too, so check that out. How low will they go? It's hard to say. First Community offers a 30-year and 15-year fixed rate loan, and you'll never pay a fee for application, processing, no fees for underwriting. First Community also is offering that jumbo loan and a loan specifically for the first-time home buyer. So if you are a first-time home buyer, do not get your loan anywhere else but First Community. You owe it to yourself to learn more, and you can do it at firstcommunity.com. Four Hands Brewing Company, of course, all our friends over there, get that Cam and Strick, Mango Lemonade Hard Seltzer. Do it, and treat yourself this weekend. Have a great weekend. You'll find it's a matte black can, blues colors, can't miss it. Great for hockey season. Get that Mango Lemonade Hard Seltzer. Do it today. Of course, all our friends over there at Arco Construction, Lower Those Diamonds, Paul's Market. If you're looking to order those steaks, get it delivered to your front door. Do what so many others do, including Tarasenko and Perron and Chief, who's coming back in town, and Bennington and Shen, Federico. So many guys have had their steaks and seafood delivered to their front door from Tommy Daniels, baby, from Paul's Market. Check out Paul's Market, STL.com. Call Tom Daniels today. His number is on the website. We appreciate everybody, including David Novak from Blue Note Roofing. Again, 314-920-5713. Get hooked up with a new roof and do it today. Blue Note Roofing, David Novak. Always appreciate David when he gives us time like he did last week. Get that free estimate, do it today. Blue Note Roofing, look for his blue, his yellow truck. He's got the blue notes written all over it. He's the absolute best, the best in roofing when it comes to St. Louis. Plus, he'll talk pucks with you, so you get a little bonus there. All right, we got to get out of here. We thank Dalibor Divorsky, like I said, Jamal Mayers for Aiden, everybody here at Half Coast Studios, and they're the absolute best. We'll see you next week on Cam and Strick Podcast. Plus, always, every Friday here with Hockey Sense. Big homestand coming up for St. Louis. Looking forward to it. I'm Andy Strickland reminding you to keep your head up and your stick on the ice. See you next week.